1 year ago, I opened up this car dealership. So yeah, this is the beginning, guys. If you guys are watching now, like, you're gonna see, what ends up happening to this. May Allah put his blessings into this business. May Allah, guide all of us. Ameen. And during this period, I made a lot of money, I lost a lot of money, I got scammed by customers, I had to fire employees, I got sued, I became an animal daycare, and through all that, I managed to sell over 175 cars. In this video, I'll be going through how much money the business made in 1 year. I'll be going through all the mistakes that I made as well. And at the end of the video, I'll share my thoughts if it was all worth it and if you should open up a car dealership in 2025. All right, so we're now in the office. I have my laptop in front of me. All right, so here's a sold inventory dashboard. This right now is at last 30 days, so we'll go ahead and switch it to last 1 year. And there you go. As you can see, in the last 1 year, we sold 177 cars and the gross sales was $1,397,360. Average sale for each car was around $8,000 and we sold 177 of them. So that's what it comes out to. And of course, that's not all profit, right? Because there are other expenses, but that's how much the business generated. Now let's jump into the next segment, which is going to be mistakes that I made and trials and tribulations. The first mistake, and this is the biggest mistake and the hardest lesson I had to learn by far, trusting people. I always trusted everyone from the jump, which was a huge mistake. I just always thought it would be good. I thought everyone would be good to me because I'm good to them, but that's not always the case, unfortunately. First one person scams you and you think, you know what, you can't let one bad apple ruin the bunch. But then another person scams you and you're like, okay, well, that sucks. And a third person, fourth person, fifth, and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, I think it's just human nature to where people just want the best for themselves. They don't care about, who they screw along the process. They just want for themselves, me. You don't care about who you screw over, who you cross. It doesn't matter to you because all you care about is yourself and benefiting yourself. And this is wrong. And because I trusted so many people, I just kept getting screwed over, right? So I had employees steal from me. I had employees tell other employees to work slower, don't work too hard, don't work too fast. I've had mechanics steal my car and go on joy rides and go to spin the car around, get 100-mile-per-hour tickets in the car with my license plate on the vehicle. And I also had employees try to sabotage the entire operation. It happened and it is what it is. And I trusted people and that was a big mistake. And that's just one of the lessons, right? So let's go ahead and go to other lessons real quick. Mistake number 2. Scaling too fast. In the beginning, yes, all the money I was making, put it back into the business, buy more cars. It compounds, right? Because now you have more money, you made more profit, now you buy more cars. Then more money, more profit, buy more cars, buy more cars. And it just grows exponentially, right? It's like a snowball effect. You sell out your inventory, boom, you go buy more cars. And you get more cars this time, right? Then you sell those inventory. Then you can get more cars. And it just grows and grows and grows. And it's a snowball effect, it's like an avalanche, right? In the beginning, the avalanche is small, it's weak, it's nothing. But then over time, the avalanche goes and goes and goes, and eventually the avalanche gets really huge, right? And that's all the money you're making, right? All that is just money you're making. And it's awesome, it's great, because then you look up, you're like, holy, like, wow, I have a lot of money. Like, this business, like, it made me a lot of money. But the problem with this is you can easily get stuck in an avalanche, right? You can easily get stuck into just thinking, just compound, grow. Yes, you might have enough money to do it, but you don't have like the correct resources, the correct systems in place to handle more volume, to handle that amount of work. That's where I completely messed up. So if you saw my video a couple videos ago, it was like I tried to scale to 50 cars a month, and that completely destroyed me. It was basically me and one other person, me and Jeff, 50 cars a month, which is ridiculous. It wasn't feasible, like, at all. Like, it completely destroyed it. And I always had this mindset where it's like, all these gurus teach it too. It's like money in the bank just sitting, it's just rotting away, it's just dying, which kind of makes sense. But then when you get to a certain point, it doesn't make sense anymore, right? Because yes, I have enough money to buy more cars, but that doesn't mean like I can handle more cars. I have a whole lot like right now, just full of cars. It's like a graveyard, just full of cars waiting to get fixed on because I kept buying more and more cars, and that lot just kept filling up, and we didn't have the resources here to handle more work. So huge mistake, huge mistake there. And also with that, it's like I didn't get to enjoy any of the fruits of my labor, right? Like the business keeps growing and growing. But the purpose of business is to make the business owner rich, right? And that might sound selfish, that might sound whatever, but the purpose of me starting this business is to make me rich, right? To make me money, right? That's the end all be all of starting a business, so you can get rich. Yes, I ended up making a lot of money, yes. But it wasn't until like maybe a month ago I started like enjoying like the fruits of my labor. The whole time I'm just thinking buy more cars, which is good. It worked in the beginning, but then it got to a point where the avalanche nearly killed me. I nearly got swamped in that avalanche. It almost took my life over completely, right? Thankfully, I got out of it. So now I understand how much cars we can handle a month and while still consistently but slowly growing the business. Don't scale too fast. Just don't. The next level we go to scale at, I'm gonna hire one more person, and it's gonna be a very, very good, like, specialized individual that knows exactly what to do. I'm gonna teach him everything I know. That way, you know, we can scale it correctly. What I was doing, I was just hiring random people. I was like, okay, yeah, come on, I need more people. Hire, come on, hire. It was just messy. It wasn't organized. It wasn't correct. I scaled too fast. Big problem. Mistake / problem number 3. Marketing. For the first 10 months, 11 months, I was selling all my cars through Facebook, basically. Just Facebook Marketplace. That's the only place I posted my cars. And it worked, right? Because, you know, I worked super hard, you know, trying to get good deals from the auctions, right? And because of that, I was able to sell good deals on Facebook. And the problem with this is that not everyone's shopping on Facebook, right? There's a lot of people, there's a large demographic of people that are not shopping on Facebook. And I was only on Facebook, right? So I'm missing out on a lot of customers, a lot of people. And just until like 2 months ago, not even a month ago, I finally got onto Google. I finally got onto Carfax, right? So now I'm on Carfax. Now I'm getting calls, you know, from Google, Carfax. People are looking up cars online, like this car for sale. I have it for sale. They see it on Carfax. They call me. Boom, I have it, right? So marketing, you know, just using Carfax alone I've seen more people coming in and out and selling more cars just using Carfax, right? So this, I should have done it from the beginning, but I didn't know. I was ignorant to it. And shout out to George. He's the one that put me on to Carfax. He said it was worth it because I thought it was expensive, but he said it was completely worth it, which he was completely right. Because I already sold like 3 cars off of them, and you know, just do the math and how much they charge you, it's worth it. So marketing, try to get all angles, and yeah, that's what I did for marketing. The next mistake, getting fat. I'm not talking about my stomach. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the business. The business got fat. It was no longer lean, right? When I was trying to scale everything, I was just hiring more people, and these people are expensive. The number one expense I have is employees, by far. Employees is the number one expense. So when it was scaling, hiring more people, the business got fat. Honestly, I made way less money, right? When the business got fat, I made way less money. So when I first opened it up, I was solo dolo. No one was here. It was me doing everything. I was doing everything. Solo dolo. Making, I don't want to give y'all exact numbers because a lot of people pocket watch and hate, but I'll just give y'all rough figures. So in the beginning when I was solo, I was making this much money, right? This is how much money I was making. Just rough estimate. You'll get it in a second. And my expenses were this much. So this left over was the profit, right? That was the profit. So this is how much money the business made a month. Expenses, that's what we're left with, right? Once I started getting, you know, fatter and hiring more people, yes, the business started making more money, right? But also was costing a lot more now. Now it was costing a lot more. It's basically the same thing, right? So you hire more people, you can sell more cars, but they cost more money. So now you're just back to where you were in the beginning. You're still making the same amount of money, right? Even though you scaled, all this is headaches, problems, issues, and you make the same amount of money. Some months, to be honest with you, just recently, like some months, it was looking like this. You make more money, but then the expenses were more. So I ended up looking like this. I was making less money with more people selling more cars than I was in the beginning when I was just solo dolo. So that's something I learned, right? Scaling is not always the correct metric to look at. Someone said it, I read it in a book. This guy said, profit is sanity, scaling is vanity. When I scaled, I mean, it felt good, right? Like, just between me and y'all, it feels good to be like, yeah, I have 4 employees, like, right? Someone asks you, hey, like, how many employees do you have? I have 4 employees. Like, you feel like you're on top of the world. Like, yeah. Little does that person know, yeah, I have 4 employees, but I'm making less money than the guy that has this just by himself. It's a vanity metric at that point, right? So remember that. Profit is sanity. When I was profitable, I was sleeping good at night, right? Eating good meals, alhamdulillah. But then once I started scaling and everything just went downhill. So now where I'm at now, for y'all wondering, right now it's just me and I have 1 more employee, Jeff, right? That's all we have. Me, Jeff, that's it. That's it for right now. Everything else is outsourced. I'm no in-house body guy, no in-house mechanic, none of that. Everything is outsourced. Cars go to mechanic shops, cars go to body shops, they come back to us, fixed, ready for sale, boom, we sell them, that's it, right? We're not doing nothing in-house. We're not dealing with that no more. So there's that. All right, so those are the mistakes and lessons I learned, but now let's talk about the things I think I did correctly. First thing first, buying cars. I lived on the auction. My weekend, I had no weekend. I was on the auction getting ready for Monday. When you live on the auction, you don't miss any deal, right? There's no deal that slipped past me. It slipped past everyone else because, you know, maybe they snoozed, maybe they had a weekend of partying and drinking and whatever, and they missed out, right? But I never did. I was there every single day. I always showed up no matter what. I never let a deal go by me. And that's why people always came to my dealership and said, like, wow, your prices are really good. They're like, how are you making any money? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I bought them from steals. Like, I bought this car for a steal off the auction, right? Everyone snoozed on it. Everyone passed on it. And whatever, either they passed on it or they just didn't see it. Whatever the case is, I got it. So when I get a good deal, I pass that good deal onto the customer, right? That's what keeps the business going. Yes, I could charge more for that car, but then it'll take more time, right? But I'm trying to move quick. So boom, I get the car, boom, give them a good deal to the customer, everyone's happy. I made profit, they got a great deal, everyone's happy. You know, win, win, win all around. So that's the first thing I think I did correctly. Here's Jeff pulling up. 1 year anniversary at Bliss. What you gotta say? How do you feel?
Hey, I feel pretty good.
Sure.
It's been a whole year already.
Jeff is the only one that survived.
Yeah.
Everyone else is gone.
Last man standing.
Last man standing for real. Any words, anything you gotta say to people?
Hey, I'm just happy that we're still here. Happy for all the support that everybody always show.
All the hate too, man.
All the hate and love. So
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
I bet. Appreciate you. Shout out Jeff. Real quick, 2 more things that I think we did correctly here at the dealership. And yes, the dealership is empty right now. We sold most of the inventory. We had this dealership jam-packed at one point. It was like completely full. Cars everywhere, cars in the front. It was completely packed. And you know, that was not, I didn't understand the whole scaling stuff yet, but now I get it. So now I've calmed down. What's his name said it best? Jeff Bezos. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? That's a quote that's like so simple but so profound. It's like, yes, that's true. Slow is smooth. When you move slow and correctly, you're fast by default. And now 2 other things that we did correctly. First thing first was YouTube, this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel helped out a lot with a lot of things, right? And to be honest with y'all, between me and y'all, I barely make anything off YouTube. It's like, compared to a business and how much time YouTube takes, basically at a loss, just off the AdSense that YouTube pays. But it's the other things that YouTube pays that's extremely worth it, right? So it's the connections that I've made through YouTube. I met other dealerships, I met other guys that have dealerships that have put me on game, right? That have taught me stuff. They've been in the business for way longer than me, so they've taught me things. So there's that. That's one thing that's like, you know, priceless almost. And also customers, you know, I don't sell a lot of cars to customers, but the people that do come from my YouTube channel and they come buy cars, it's awesome. Cause like they saw the car, you know, from beginning to end basically, and they saw the entire process and they saw me, you know, everything, and they trust me, which is awesome. And now the third thing that I did correctly, actually I think I did correctly, was customer service. I basically never let a customer down, like ever. Even though they test drove the car, even though I tell them, you know, go get it checked out mechanic if you want, even though I tell them like, take all your time, no rush, look at the car thoroughly, do whatever you need to do, no rush at all, no pressure. Even though I do all that and I tell them it's as is, and I ask them, do you want to get a third-party warranty? I offer them all this and that, and they still say no, and they take the car, and whatever, a week later something happens, right? It was unforeseeable. And they come to me and ask me, hey, like, can you fix it for me, this and that? Even though through all that, like, I almost always helped out the customer, like almost like no matter what. Even if it's just like I help pay him for the repairs, or sometimes I pay for the entire repair, or sometimes, you know, whatever it is, I just try to help out, right? It's like people just don't want to get screwed over, of course, right? Because right now I'm in the market to buy a car. Shoot, I'm getting like a shoulder pump off of this. Everyone just doesn't want to get screwed over when they're buying a car, right? It's a big purchase for a lot of people. No one wants to get screwed over, right? So if people trust you, they're not really gonna care about the car, right? They're gonna look at it, you know, test it out. But if they trust you, then that's it. My word, like my name, my brand is everything. When someone buys a car from me, they know my intentions were pure. I've never lied to no customer. I never knew about a problem and just like lied about it, right? Never, ever, ever. I never did that. So whenever a problem did arise, my intentions were always pure. Like I didn't know I had that problem. It was unforeseeable, but it happened, and that's why I always try to help out. So when people know that and they trust you, that's it. Once your name gets out there, like, hey, like this guy sells like good cars, and you know, even if something bad does happen with the car, he's gonna help out, right? So when people know that, they have that peace of mind, right? They'll come buy from you. They have that peace of mind. They'll know, hey, this guy's not trying to scam me, and he's not trying to get over on me. So yeah, those are the 3 things I think I did correctly: buying the cars, YouTube, and customer support. Always helping out the customer. I'm in the process right now of trying to buy a car, and I'm going to like different dealers and this and that. Like if y'all see my last videos, like these folks are shady, and I'm trying to throw shade. Like I don't want to talk bad on nobody, but like I don't trust these people at all, because they're like, I'll catch them in lies, and it's like, okay, if you lie about this, what else are you lying about? But yeah, so those were the 3 things we did correctly. And now the final segment of this video: was it worth it? I want to finish off this last segment behind 2 Infinities, because the first car I sold here was an Infiniti Q50. And if y'all know me, I sold a lot of those cars. I bought a lot of those cars, and these are really good cars for me. So I want to end it off here. Actually, let's get that Civic out the way. No offense to the Civic. Was all of this worth it? Was getting scammed by people worth it? Was people lying to me worth it? Was customers lying to me worth it? Was getting sued worth it? Was going through all these trials and tribulations, losing money, buying bad cars, people scamming me, was all of this worth it in the end? In short, yes, but not for the money, right? Not for the money. Yes, the money was good. Yes, alhamdulillah, we made good money here. But the money was not the main thing that I took away from all this, from 1 year of being here. Let me explain. So yes, the money was good. Yes, we made good money, alhamdulillah. But the person you become in order to make that type of money is priceless. That's really like the benefit that you gain from this. It's not the money, it's the person that you become. Now I'm like extremely like super disciplined in all aspects of life, right? And I was disciplined already before, but this like took me to another level. You know, I spend 4 hours, say on Sunday, right? I'm getting ready for Monday's auction, right? I spend 4 hours, not even. On Sunday, I spend the whole day, the whole entire day, just on the auction, looking for cars for Monday. Then Monday comes. I'll go through the entire auction. I don't win any single car. I put hundreds of cars on the watch list, and I ran the numbers on all of them. I didn't win anything. So then you feel defeated. But it's like, well, now what? We're gonna do cry about it? No, you got Tuesday's auction, right? So now I'll get home after the entire day of work, get home, and boom, for like 4 hours, I'm on the auction again, trying to get cars for Tuesday, right? And then Tuesday comes, same thing. I don't win any cars. Now you're really feeling like defeated, like you're doing something wrong. But you're not. It's the grind, it's the process. And Tuesday comes, boom, you don't win any cars. Then you get home from work on Tuesday, get on the auction again, 5 hours, finding cars for Wednesday. Boom, Wednesday comes. You don't win any cars. And it's like this for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the whole week. So you just spent the whole week. You spent maybe 30 hours, just boom, gone. You didn't win any cars. It feels like you just wasted your time. But in a sense, yes, I didn't make any money during this process, but it taught me the principles, right? It taught me the character trait of being disciplined, of being persistent, of being consistent. No matter what, you have to show up. Because guess what? That next one day, next week, boom, you win 6, 7 cars in one day. And those 6, 7 cars, each car, you make 3K profit, right? So whatever, do the math on that, it's like a 20K day. So now as I wrap up this video right here with these 2 cars behind me, the cars that really started it all. Was it worth it? Yes. For the money? Sure. The money helps, the money's great, but it's the character traits and it's the person that, you know, I feel like I've become. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone that's watching. If this is your first video watching for me, I appreciate you for watching it to the end. And if you've been with me since the beginning when I first opened up, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate it. Shout out to everybody, shout out to the supporters. I read all the comments, shout out to all the haters. You know, it is what it is. I appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.